especially on Train in their 2-2 matchup.
I don't mind it on the T side because the Glock doesn't have the range. It doesn't necessarily have. I mean, you said it the other day. It's the worst pistol in the game. If you want to improve the burst, you could bring back some viability. But yeah, I don't mind the T side to see that it's not too expensive. That little bit of an upgrade. Jade doesn't have armor because of it, but that's okay. Right now, it smokes down. But you said it. JW can see through that and makes no mistake. Backside of KdTV for the first shot. That's not easy. Sprays toward default. They've gone safe side of the box as a result of that gap and the kill, so they at least get the bomb planted. But Valdo has to hold off CT. They've got a man watching the flank, and rightfully so, because Exist heads that direction. That battle comes next. First, it's the brawl at CT. It's gone 1 for 1 each way, twice over. So now Valdo has to back off. He needs to stay alive. Again, the flank starts to matter. If Exist can take down Gade, then inside of the site, oh, it's going to happen too because unfortunately he's not looking away. He's been pulled. He's got a shot at least from range, but now Exist arrives and it leaves Valdo middle of everyone in a blender. How does he got this? Here's on the bomb. So low on HP. They still managed to win it.
Wow, that is not the start that Fnatic were looking for, especially with that flank. That should have been theirs all day of the week. They postured towards CT for so long. Eventually they had to drop that smoke and actually push on in because it took so long for that to come on in, to find any kills, to find any success. And a round that started with a freebie quickly fell apart there. And Valdo, well, we all know what he can do. They were talking about on the desk how he is just such a class player for this north side. Hasn't been alone in this tournament in his approach. He's been able to have AZ with a fantastic tournament. He is one of the, well, he is the highest rated player from north in this event. And Crim's on the other side of things for Fnatic. So we've just seen a USP buy come out from Fnatic here. 2 HE grenades, 1 on Twist, 1 on Exist. They're actually over towards the B side, but the action will be going down towards A. They're setting up now, posturing for the execute 2-3 Palace and 2-3 A-Round with KdTV lurking mid.
Gade still working his way out. Crims is found first. Shots out, 80. Anything toward CT. Follow that up, the AK is working. Exist down next. Oh, careful not to kill your teammates. In most cases, again, Henry says this all the time, if you have to shoot through your teammate to kill the opposition, do it. When it's a gun round versus pistols, keep all 5 alive. I admire that he stopped shooting. It's not necessary there. You're going to win that duel with or without killing your teammate.
Yeah, well, you'd hope so.
Better to be
USPs,
without.
Right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to get the first gun round underway nice and quick. JW is going to go into the AWP. No armor to go behind that, but it shouldn't matter too much. North going to go for a bit of a set play here. They do have the MAC-10 in the hands of KD, and he's just going towards middle, so they're not doing something and using him as bait early. They're just going into what appears to be a default spread. Valdo putting pressure on the B apartments here, keeping them honest, making sure they have to use any utility and hopefully keep somebody over towards the site to help Exist, which is happening with Twist. And meanwhile, they've just postured over towards A to set up an execute. Big rotation has come in early. JW's already rotated away because of the window smoke. He's going over towards B, and I think they want to exchange timing with Exist, but if they're too slow, Broland and Crims are going to be left on an island over towards this A bomb site. So now the utility comes over from north. They need some flashes to follow. AZ's going to be coming through Palace.
Broland holding off. Well, shots his direction. You hear the window get blown out, but so far nothing's landed on him. Plant goes safe side. Shadow. Crims floating below. Oh, missed the shots. Can't afford that. Not against a MAC-10 either because KdTV gets money and he's the one that doesn't have a rifle. That's great. He wants that bonus. Oh, I'll get ranged. There's no kits. That's going to... Oh, this at least gives them access back to jungle. That would have been a huge problem if they could hold off the bench, but they still have a second one there. They would have thought that was clear. Exist would have thought that's the man waiting for me. He has the right of passage, but gets shut down immediately. And round over, yeah, because again, the no kit factor.
Just to note, the reason that Fnatic were probably very sheepish and JW rotated over towards that B bomb site as well is when teams tend to save those bonus weapons, at least in the current meta, you're seeing more of the B execute come out, right? You're seeing the wall smokes over towards the pillar, the Molotovs onto the bomb site, and then they jump out with the SMGs to open up the lines of sight, and then the rifles will fight from the balcony position. Because you know you're dealing with a B bomb site with low utility, and most teams go for mid control, they go play a cat, one mid and one connector, you can normally, you know, really hammer down towards that player. The A bomb site tends to be easier to execute on and retake. So it's been towards the B bomb site in current times, and they've just thrown a bit of a fake there, right? They've thrown utility, they've kept them honest, and they've executed on A. They've only had to do with 2 players, get a lot of territory, and everything worked out fantastically. Now they're heading towards the B bomb site, but Fnatic is still able to scrape a buy together based off of those saved weapons. So it's not that bad for them as JW goes super aggressive here.
Oh, tag through the wall. Cade will eventually go down. The nade to follow up the early damage, and JW swings once more. He's done damage twice over, but can't find kills on the off. That gives Twist the invitation twice that he capitalizes on it as JW continues to fire back toward the van. That time he shows his speed and grace. And fnatic make no mistake to pick up the round. So 3-1, they get on the board. Good call to save in the previous. And the money builds, but again, this starts to hamper that whole reset economy. It's one backwards, right? It's one step off of it.
What we have seen in common occasions is, rounds going back 2 rounds, 1 round, 3 rounds, and that way teams are doing a lot more saving once they get blown out of bomb sites. So for the CTs, it doesn't feel like there's as many retakes, especially in that first half, because you want to try and get as many rounds on the board. You have to start doing it when you swap on over if you're CT side the second time round. It's going to be a very quick mid-blitz coming in here, so JW is going to be tested early. Not going to land the shot. Oh, no, he will actually onto AZ.
Yeah. And hits KdTV. He's hitting everything. He's only got 2 kills out of the 5 shots he's landed that we've seen. He's legged 3 people. Still all counts.
So that's a lot of damage, and he instantly knows that he can't have any more impact on mid with the AWP. He's going to rotate away, and that leaves Crims basically babysitting middle alone.
He's so good in connector.
Look, he's been playing this position forever. If you go all the way back to when he was in LGB with the likes of Olaf, and Twist was in his team back then as well, he was still playing this position. And he was getting it done then. So one of those players who can keep it over the times, the changes of meta, and wants to continue to poke and prod over the top of the smoke grenade here. He only has 3 to deal with now. Gades over towards Palace, Volda and KdTV, seeing if anybody wants to go aggressive towards middle, and that tag onto KdTV means that they can't be too aggressive. But they're still worried about the window boost. There you go, look at this. He's just prowling around middle.
Damage as well on the KdTV and makes it viable for the M4s to get a one-shot kill. Any gun, for that matter, almost a one-shot kill. The AUG and the AK will have better fortunes against the full HP'd players. Bomb still down, Volta just waiting it out. He hasn't been quite on the form that he was last year.
AZ's made up for that, hasn't he?
AZ stepped back up, yeah, absolutely.
Something to note while we have this bit of a lull for fnatic, this is obviously their map choice here, and you can see why. If you look at their player statistics, you have JW Crims up towards the top in terms of their contributions, Twist as well, Broland. All 4 of those players I've just mentioned have positive ratings. The only one who doesn't is Exist. Obviously the in-game leader position, we know what to expect out of him. And then for North, all of these stat lines are based off this core roster on these maps. So they only have 1 player who's in a positive, and that's Volda. Everybody else has a negative rating.
I think that's been the biggest issue, is the individual performances, because the ingredients are there. Kjærby was the MVP of a major when Astralis won in Atlanta. Remember that. He was the MVP in that win, the first time they won a major. You've got Volda, who was in the top 20 last year, and we expect that of him now. Is probably the best player on the team. Not necessarily has the highest potential, but has been their best player, as the stat you pointed out suggests. And AZ, who has incredible peak potential, just never reaches it. If they can get all that going, Gage shows young promise. KdTV on the op and in-game leading, that's the biggest question mark. If he can find consistent form, they've got it all. They've got everything they need.
Yeah, he has the ability, though, with the 3 players you mentioned to begin with, Volda, AZ, and Kjærby, that he doesn't have to do a lot on that position, right? He can just be a rock. He doesn't necessarily need to go for anything crazy. He doesn't need to be a pace setter. If those 3 individuals can step up, Gade's actually been one who's been more in line with Volda in terms of his multi-kill potential in key areas of maps, especially train close towards team mid. But as we get back focused here in the game, we're on round number 6, scores 2-3 in favor of North. And they've been able to buy on in here. The only omissions are Kjærby on a Deagle and KdTV with the UMP, but full utility. It feels like they want to go for what they did in the earlier stages with the A execute, and KdTV's going to come probably late through this connector position from underpass.
Smoke goes deep, smoke goes short, smoke goes mid-site. That allows a fast plant potential. They can run between the boxes. Broland, even at Firebox, won't be able to do much. Good. Oh, that was JW. It was in sync with the shot that Twist fired, so I thought he somehow hit that jumping up on Ticket. Meanwhile, Twist still swings back around to find more. Broland has been waiting the whole time. They would have thought that was completely clear. The smokes that concealed eventually give him the advantage.
That execute has been out of the meta for so long. That was the French that popularized that back in about 2015, but KdTV's going to find a kill in transition. There's 20 seconds left. This actually becomes possible now, but they need to act quickly.
JW holding off by the chimney, but it's AZ that works out. KdTV got one, he goes down. JW with it all to do. Fact of the matter is, it's all done based on the time. I was going to say KdTV, and if he takes that fight, he can get back in. He still does get him, but Broland's alive to win out the round on time and time alone.
The fact KdTV's going back, I thought for more meant that he could have died after the time. He just wants that AWP, yes. He's going to pick that one up, be able to carry it through to the following round.
I just realized, I assumed that we just had one observer hitting all feeds.
Yeah.
They have a different observer than us.
Oh, well, we can pick and choose
We've got
then.
2 perspectives.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Get everything covered here. We are actually on the floor.
With the KdTV boys, that's what I'm referencing.
Yeah, just to note that that setup they're rolling out is very old. I think what, the key to that is if a team is playing heavy middle, they're doing the standard, jump out, window, push up mid, get control there, and you do that kind of a setup, then you can isolate the players as they rotate back through window and connector. But in that case, Broland was in the back of the site, just, over towards that, I don't know what it's called in the rest of the world, but in Australia we call it the Goblin Box. At least we used to. It's been a long time since I've been home. But with Twist over towards Ticket, it made it look like it was just a retake situation. He could sit and wait and then pounce towards the late round. They'd already lost kills in the early stages to that. I get it. I used to run that execute too. But it just hasn't been working. It used to be more of like a gimmick. You use it on pistols, use it more just to get that bomb down. But they weren't even able to get the plant down. They couldn't get control of the map that's key when you do that execute, which is obviously towards window and connector, so you can play the late round from middle. Good stuff from fnatic. So now we're all tied up 3-3, and this saves orb on the hands of KD. And it's what they have to work with. Crims has been able to put out the window smoke with his Molotov to make sure there is a one-way position, and that's been known. So KD's not going to overstep the mark here. He's just going to wait for it, and then they can go for a bit of a reinitiation. KD has a smoke and a flash to work with as well. Everybody else just has some upgraded pistols. So fnatic really don't need to make the first move here. They can just react.
JW with the AWP wants to get underneath. And Kiabi's up close, so this is interesting because the pistol from that position certainly could take JW down. Thankfully for his sake, he's going to back off completely. It doesn't really matter how close he is at connector at this point. It'll be, at underpass, it'll be more of a connector battle.
They've heard that scope, surely.
I don't think they're quite close enough. I don't think Kiabi is. Interestingly, they smoked JW off.
Yeah, it's a teammate smoke. That's
that was
strange.
A CT smoke. I don't know the call on that, but it's going to be a dink out toward Crims. JW has a gap to work with.
Has a one-way, yeah, it could be intentional.
Yeah. You would have thought full vision matters, but I guess against pistols, you can catch them off. Speaking of pistols and catching off, it's Broland down at Sandwich. JW therefore has to retreat down connector because he knows if they wrap around the corner, the potential is there. He's got to hit a pressured shot, and they just have to spam and move. Speaking of movement, though, Twist gets back in, bomb flung forward. He can hold this. That smoke now benefits him so much. Crims with the kill. He just has to watch the wide side and the lineup. He finds 2. Oh. Nice transfer. Now take it back. Crims got it. It looked pretty, but Crims did get it.
Twist has fooled us twice now in the early stages of this game. Yeah, I thought Crims was done for on low HP, right? He got dinked by the P250 in the window early in that round, rotated around towards CT spawn on 9 HP, is able to get a lot of work done, but it felt very hesitant from a lot of the players from North there to get onto the side, and fnatic took advantage of that. One by one they went, and they were able to isolate the kills. And a bit more pressure, a bit more numbers to allow them to plant the bomb. That will be a gun round nonetheless coming on in. AZ on the SG or Krieg, depending on which version of Counter-Strike you come from. Broland's close A ramp. He's going to take advantage of this. This is fantastic play from the youngster. Gets up close. That ruins the execute right there. Anything you had planned, KD, and that's out the window, mate. Standing with a nade in your hand. That's getting basically caught with your pants down. That's probably the CS equivalent. And you can see whatever they were.
I've ever done that on broadcast, Chad.
Getting caught with your pants down.
Yeah.
I've done it twice.
Well then.
I wasn't caught either.
The expert of it.
I might be the leading expert on getting 16-0'd as well, so.
Telling the experts here, that was the best part of that. Henry and I had a good laugh about it. Actually, it was Jason and I that event. We had a good laugh about that. Well, that'll teach him.
Yeah. Bloody Gosu gamers. Anyway.
This could teach North, though, because watch Crims. Pushed up. They can't do anything from the underpass position. That's still held off from window. Molotov's going to hold them at bay as well, so Crims can actually back off and get away. Unfortunately for him, if he had gone one further step, would have found the kills, but he recognized that they already had the opening pick. Why give away the lead? And Twist, he'll hold his line and ground over toward the B site, back off. They've got the second off in JW. It's just an absolute bloodbath for these AWPs because fnatic has come back from 0-3. They now have a 5-3 lead. I'm going to call this one done. I don't think that bomb gets any further than this with the rotations already in place.
This kind of map for AWPers like JW and Twist, who are both, they don't have to. I know the lineup there made that look very enticing, but X-Ray can be a little bit misleading from time to time. Crims is going to see if he can make sure he can take these guns away so they can't hold on to them.
Garby held the line, but Crims somehow beat him to it. Either way, Gade will go back around.
I think like AWPing on the CT side for Fnatic, it's quite easy because the two of them can move around the map very fluidly. But when it comes to the T side, that's where they've come into issues, right? They've traded who's the main AWPer a couple of times. And that really makes it difficult to structure if you are the in-game leader of Exist, if you are the coach of Jumpy, if you don't know who's going to be the main AWP, you don't know who's going to be able to put where, what abilities do they really have, what lines they like to take. It's a little bit more difficult. Things back underway here. 5-3 in favor of Fnatic now. Another gun round able to come out from North. Not a lot of utility this time, so they're going to have to take a lot of early fights. They're going over towards middle as a bit of a pack. They wanted this quickly. JW will find one. Twist will get taken down. So 2 AWPs positioned towards middle. And now territory has been taken.
Gabby holds off on JW, but not before he can get Volda. As Crims takes the nade that Gade throws from the other side. Banks go out. Gade does actually get Crims. Patience pays off. He wins out connector. Not an easy task against the man mentioned. Crims can still foil a bit here because if that smoke dissipates and they're still toward connector, he can stab them in the back from catwalk. But he's going to have to be quick. Oh, timing. He's going to have to be quick about it. Gets another chance at it because Broland's left alone at CT. And he's removed. No kill from him. Almost makes this impossible.
Oh,
I say that, and Broland somehow gets up on top of the ticket booth with the smoke down. Gonna try and plant off of it, but his gun barrel reveals him from AZ's position at Palace. And finally, North get another round.
A little bit jumpy there from Broland. But remember, he is a youngster. He's been thrust into this team as a prospect of the future, and he's playing with absolute legends of the game, and especially from the Swedish side of things. Multiple major champions in there exist from the NIP days of old. Obviously, JW and Crims won majors together. Twist as well has been around for as long as I can remember. I played against him back in 2013. It's just been a while since he's decided he wanted to compete at this top level consistently. Now it's turning into more of a default spread from North. This duel here against JW has won it a few times. This time, we'll have to just bounce back immediately. But that's a warning shot. They're going to have to use utility to clear out that position or stay away completely. But it is an area of the map that they will have to take control of at some point, especially with this default spread they have. They weren't close enough. If you know the AWP is close up mid like that, he has to have support. So you can normally, lurk onto a bomb site or execute onto a bomb site if you're set up for that. But we can see on the mini-map, they're all over the place. One towards A ramp, one towards Palace, 2 very passively towards top mid. And Kirby just making sure there's no push for B apps and underpass. So they're going to let the clock tick down this time, North. Trying to bait out the utility. You can see now they want to reinitiate. Look how scared they are that the fact that JW could have hung around. We can see that he's repositioned, and now they're going to encroach on in. It's only going to be Kirby late from middle. And the rest will be coming from the A bomb site.
He's late to middle, and Crims has set up a brilliant smoke to catch him off as well. That was self-thrown off the far wall. Gave him just the gap he desired. Again, he's sort of the architect of that position he's played there. You said so long. So smoke execution. No one from mid now. Well, that makes contact. I don't know how he didn't get the shot off in time. Still getting the gun readied, I suppose, from the counter flashes, and they're going to boost behind the smoke. I'm not sure they're aware, though, that KD has already jumped across Sandwich. So if they fire, he jumped off. If he stayed there and wrapped in, even with the boost, if they were preoccupied, he could have caught that off. They know he was planting. They saw it before the drop, so they had the lineup. But this is KD.
Oh, he missed it.
That's exactly it. He didn't see it. He saw it the first one, didn't realize there was 2 there. And Volda turns his head in perhaps dismay because he's suddenly left with it all to do. He's started off well at least, but time is not there to win out the rounds. KD could have changed that. I still don't know that they gave themselves enough time even to recover.
Yeah, I don't think there was enough time for them to get into that, even if he was able to pick up the double kill in that situation. But Fnatic have definitely steadied now. You can see how scared North were. So they need to be either a little bit more direct, which they were in the previous round, and they got wrecked in middle again. They got picked off. They did trade, though, so they made the round at least interesting in that regard and put a lot of pressure over towards Broland. So maybe the faster approach will work against Fnatic here. Upgraded a couple of pistols, a couple of nades. It is a fast approach on towards the A's bomb side. It's going to be a pounce out of Apps, and Broland's locked down A ramp. So at this point, the attack has been completely stifled. They can deal with Apps. And Broland just holds off A ramp. You can't push through that smoke. North unable to get through, and they're going to think better of it. They're going to drop back and maybe wait out this A ramp smoke. Try and use the AK of Volda to get some kills, or as I say that, the Caster's Curse comes alive, and they're darting back through T-spawn, seeing if they can find any rotations or pushes from Fnatic, who do have a member pushed up. Ooh, this is interesting. The AWP. Not much, though. Twist gets out late. 2 for him. Volda, Cadian.
shots in return. KW sneaks in from behind. fnatic continue to control the map quite significantly. Remember, it is Mirage, Nuke, and Inferno if required. I think most people were leaning on the north side of things. The desk thought fnatic.
Yeah, well, look, fnatic went through 3-0, right? So they got through in the, not the easiest of manners, but the cleanest of manners. So they had the most time to decompress, practice, and actually look at all their other opponents, make sure that they were prepped and ready. They went through NIP, and the blockbuster was the opener, the Swedish Derby. And then they beat NRG, and then they beat Vitality, those two 2-0 respectively. So a clean run to this point. It is that faster approach towards middle again. The deep smokes have come on in, and they want to take control very quickly.
This can't find it. Knows there's one there, but couldn't get the exact angle. It was a good educated guess as to how to jump up in the corner piece. They could jump into the window from that as well, so as such, JW's rotated around to make sure he's ready for that. Not sure that Molotov was actually intended to bounce. I don't think he could see the edge of the window inside of the smoke, and that might have been meant to go far, clear out the vent side, and then they could jump in, but instead they'll go back to the connector anyway, and it's Crims being passive this time that will find two, perhaps three, not quite. Gage just barely got him down in the end and brings it back to a 3-on-3. But low HP on north side. They have to get to where the site bomb goes in now. Twist. Oh my goodness, through the smoking connector. Absolutely nails KdTV. As AZ has to try and recover, but bomb's in the open. Gade doesn't have a lot to fight with, and they need to recover it. AZ will flash to make sure he can get there, but Twist gets Gade. I thought the shot was going to go the other way. That time it does.
Oh my god.
Nearly came to kills. Nearly came to AZ's AWP, but Exist gets away with it.
That's a body shot through the wall. There's no other way that he gets put down to 2 HP.
Ridiculously unlucky in some ways for AZ.
Can't be the leg shot in that situation. Well, something to note is that fnatic keep rotating a player late through Cat when they're going for these A splits. And if you can take control of Cat, make sure that window and vent room are clear, then those post-plant scenarios where they try and win them through that sector is taken away from North. You have to be more direct about it. But if that's in mind, maybe you can take more fights towards a ramp. Here we go. We've got the stats up on the screen right now. Twist towards the top on 12. Kirby relatively slow, only down with 2 kills so far, but they're struggling to get into sight. So it's not the end of the world right now. We're only 12 rounds in, about to start round number 13. Sounds like they're buying up. Yes, we can see it right now. The guns will be coming out on the side of North again. Obviously, max loss bonus. But still not a lot of utility, right? The 3400 on the T side isn't going to do enough for an awkward buy. Nothing too familiar as Gade. He's changed up. He's gone quick. He's gone straight up the ramp. And he's been traded out by Crims, who just continues again from that connector position. Doesn't matter where they come from. He'll just stand and deliver 2 huge kills to stop this rush.
KdTV back down toward connector. We saw him wrap around sandwich a number of times. Most notably the time when he failed to get the double. W is having a heck of a game. A whale of a time on that AWP as he takes down KdTV as well. No stopping him, it seems. And it's just Volda down to defend the bomb. At least it's planted. Because that kid, oh, he didn't see it. He didn't see it, turns it back. Someone still gets it. It was low enough HP, but Twist is able to make up for that immediately. That might, I don't know Volda's settings, that might have been a 4x3. Or it could have, he was already swinging his aim. He could have just been focused with his eyes on the right side of the screen instead.
Ready for the next trade, making sure that he can be proactive about it instead of getting spammed through the wall or grenaded in that position. All right, that plan with the max loss bonus will allow them to have a proper buy now. So you can see there's going to be more utility board up on the right-hand side of your screen there. So they can go for something a little bit more execute heavy as opposed to just relying on the speed and pace and a couple of flashes to get them out into position. But fnatic have definitely steadied. You know, you've got 3 big names there. That's the trio. Obviously, Broland, you want to be a star of the future, but JW, Twist, and Crims, 3 big names of Swedish Counter-Strike, all contributing. Okay, so you do see North sending quite a few more members towards this B app side of things. They want to clear out underpass, make sure JW's not being cheeky there this time round. 2 towards top and middle, so they want to go for just a bit of a mid-crunch here. Run boost. Will it draw the attention of Crims enough here, or is he going to get a chance to transition? We didn't catch it, but JW spotted some underpass, and now he hasn't backed off. He wants to use this box to his advantage. Maybe going to pounce out a little bit late. Has a player close catwalk to swing and help distract.
So they are throwing that Molotov to bounce every time, even though JW still has an angle from the vents. Run boost would have been ideal if JW was there and he shot, and then that would have given it away perfectly where he was, but didn't happen. Still gets them toward the boxes.
They definitely heard the double scope there.
Just to note, oh, they've got a corner boost. This is actually smart because they know he's playing back by the vents. If they can walk this out, it's tricky because that's very well done. That's tricky because it's a small curb, essentially, you're playing on down below. You can't walk far if you're the lower man. KdTV trades off Crims. The opener for Volda still stands the difference as Broland wants to work back in. I was going to say, make note of the fact they had one in Palace the whole time. That's easy. He lurks out now, and Broland, forced so far off this, has to pretty much concede the bomb site. Flash out. He knows they're going to push through. He didn't do well at checking it, and Twist off site actually found a kill in the meantime. So they've got a chance back into this. Kierby, he had the bomb. They didn't plant it. AZ now stands with very little to work with at 10 seconds. Round's done.
Maybe even should have gone for the save. He might die after the time. They have no reason to push him. They have no reason to go for this.
Well, aside from you going into round 15, if you could take a gun down, he won't have it, and they will.
Maybe he didn't realize the time. There's no real reason for AZ to continue to push forward in that fight right there unless he thought he couldn't get back through Palace. Maybe it was the case, but either way, he's going to be punished. Now Kyobi's 2 kills come into question because they're struggling to get on the board, and normally one of those X-Factor players, they might need him to turn up now. The scrappy buy is going to come together. AZ would have had to have been drop something across because he barely had anything left.
Zist and Twist over toward B. That's where the challenge will come in. Nade through the window. Good damage. Great damage, in fact, because now it makes it a lot easier to clean up. Although Twist, or rather, excuse me, Zist gets tagged. Dinked, for that matter. Twist was able to find 2. When they dropped in from the balcony, he's going to find a 3rd, surely, through the smoke. Takes him a number of bullets. By the way, A1S, we've seen 2 of them in play for fnatic so far this game. Finally, Twist will perish. I think you're going to see a few players switching back to it. That 5 extra bullet boost that it has is significant as Broland makes it 11-4. So fnatic showed up to play. North, that's just chilling. He's just laying out in the sun. North have not really shown what we saw against Na'Vi.
Yeah, very tactical early. Even though they had the gap in the smoke in the pistol round, you have to be aware that's there, especially if you see them as well dry round as North. But you could see their tactical approach early, and then as soon as their game plan got shut down, they couldn't really find a way back in. Lots of poking and prodding at the AWPs with Twist and JW in the right positions when the right strats came in. The one that comes to mind is when JW went aggressive towards B apps. It's also in middle fighting from time to time. So North really couldn't find any opening kills or ground from those kind of positions. But remember, once again, this is the map choice of fnatic. You know, I talk to some of the players from time to time and I say, you know, who's good in practice? And I know we don't use that as necessarily a metric for who's the best team in the world, because that would be ridiculous. Practice teams are doing different things. They're trying different strats. Maybe they're just dry running. Maybe they're trying mid-round calling. Maybe they're focusing on something that we don't know. But a lot of teams said that fnatic have been looking pretty damn good. But one of the problems there is when it gets to the tournament stages, when you see them at WSG, when you see them at the major, they fall completely flat. Pimp said it on the desk. How are we meant to put stock behind a team that can't consistently perform? And the same thing goes for North. The pieces are there. We just don't get to see them clicking very often. So the buy's going to come in now for the pistol round. Exist and Crims with the utility smoke. 2 flashes for Exist. Crims will go for the P250 with a smoke and a flash. Gade's going to get the utility for North. Smoke and a kit in his hands. Early play over towards the B bomb site looks likely here as the smokes are getting set on up. Probably the pillar smokes. It's going to be flashes quickly and into the site they come. AZ's going to have pressure applied. Flash will push him back off the line. Kyobi over the pillar has to go big, but Twist is going to destroy him straight away. They'll get 1, but Twist is going to follow up with the 2nd there, and now they have to retake through this.
Bomb planted, Gade limited off. North, keep in mind, won the first pistol, but he might get a 2nd. It's not done yet. Gade's got it all to do. He's got to get back to the bomb. Exist is still high above. He's pulled down KdTV, and he knows he's on it, which means easy headshot. Great lineup, and it's 12-4. So North went 3-0 up. They then lost 5 in a row before they found their 4th. They have not found one since, and fnatic gets number 12.
Quick pace there. Keeping the pressure on. It's questionable now because North, we talk about them as a team, you know, who plays the fundamentals. When you get in this position, you're so many rounds down, and you're on the CT side, you could go for a force buy to try and wrestle back economy, but they want to take the save here. You can see they've only upgraded into a flash and a P250 in the hands of Gade. So they're not going to be putting up that much of a fight right here. Then they're going to put so much pressure on themselves for the rest of the game because they're going to go into the first gun round. It's obviously low utility. Nades flashes coming out into A. Molotov will clear out that balcony position, but they've pushed on out. They've been able to get 2 big kills here. The pistol might be enough.
Crimson wants the next one. Sees 2 against the wall. Knows that Firebox was spotted. I'm sure he saw that, so they can make that call. In fact, Exist tries to use that to his advantage. But watch this flank.
Have they heard it?
This is huge. JW's all the way behind. He knows that Firebox went for the shot early because he already has the information, so he'll swing and take it either way. Trigger Discipline doesn't give him information that he already had, and Crims follows it up. This is turned considerably. Despite the good start from North, it gets picked apart, and seems to be, I think, all too common. We see players somehow getting into CT spawn on Mirage.
He just legged it there. Didn't have any problems just stampeding. I suppose after all the frags went down on the A bomb site, he knew he had a relatively free avenue. So that was a key play from him right there. But the point I was trying to make about North, not force playing in that situation, sure, they want to give them a chance to buy in properly because they do play the fundamentals. They probably have all these setups they lean to. KdTV will get the AWP, just to mention. It will be glass cannon. But now you're on 13. If you lose this round, your loss bonus, sure, it's built. But on the CT side, the buys are more expensive. The defuse kit comes into play. The incendiary costs more than the Molotov. The rifles cost more, and that's where you come into problems. So this is going to be a fast B play. This is looking like it's going to be a punish coming out from fnatic as they set up their smokes and flashes. Very direct early.
As he drops off, you can see the utility thrown over the wall. Gives Gabby a chance because they get further into the side. He doesn't have to do it all alone. He's still quite isolated, all things considered. Garby's gone as well. Twist absolutely takes him down. And this could be 14-4 with any money left over, so North has to either get a pick immediately and commit, or get the hell out of there and save the AWP and 2 Augs, excuse me. As Volda does find Exist. That should be the encouragement they need. And I think at this point you go for it. Even without the kits, you need rounds. You don't want to let them get too close to 14, 15, obviously 16 when you still only have 4 yourself. So Twist waits for it. That gives Gade great entrance from the second arch, but Crims knows exactly how to deal with that. And he has the high ground, but good lineup. And they had to fight together. Damage went into both of them, but Volda got the shot.
Big bailout.
Still going to be tight here. With no kit, this is still going to be tight.
Yeah.
Oh, just barely. Okay.
So just to note that Volda had the kill in transition, right? It was a 3v3 with the bomb down. That kill that he gets is the avenue back in. And you can see what happened when Crims took the shot over towards Kitchen. Twist went to reactive to that, right? Because that draws the line of sight of the CT players retaking to, oh, Crims is apps. Look, apps. He went to swing, and the timing of the player coming up short was perfect. Got punished for looking away at the wrong millisecond there. That's one of the funny things about Counter-Strike. Can be a game of timing. Right now we have just a couple of nades put up. So they've done top mid, and they're going to nade Gade in window here. If these are perfect, he might go down. Oh, quick reaction from him, and KdTV with a very quick shot to follow up.
Those are there. JW gets KdTV back. And switch over to the pistol up close.
Oh, it's tantalizingly close.
Incredible how the money's fallen so quickly. He wanted that AWP. They knew he was there. Nades work. It's gone. Call it an overcommitment, I suppose, because he was desperate for it. They were still holding the angle. Gade's got Exist. And Twisting Crims to fall next. That was a big win from North. Take that money out of their hands immediately. Now they can start to hopefully get some momentum. Remember, this is fnatic's map choice. Nuke is that of North. Danes and Nuke. This battle's interesting as well because it's Sweden and Denmark. It's 2015, early 2016 all over again.
Yeah, well, Sweden's been dethroned for some time now. They haven't really been putting up too much of a fight. The Dusk even theorized about the idea of merging the NIP and Fnatic rosters to build the super team of Sweden. But you can see promise in both. There's definitely a lot of backbone.
They've done so many swaps lately.
Yeah.
Have they not tried that in some ways?
Look, there's clearly the star players on either side here, but whether or not that works within the systems or the in-game leading or the style that they've got, that's a whole different thought. Twist will get a shot off towards window. Just miss it there. At least they know what they're dealing with right now, though, North. They've actually got 2 players pushing for B information right now, so watch for that at the top of your screen. They might play in here while Fnatic are taking the time with 4 members to clear out middle and make sure they can get control. Brown's been able to sneak on up into connector. If he gets a little bit lazy in his positioning, Kirby might be able to swing and take him down, but here it is. You can see that push from AZ. You can see the focus now from North can be almost completely on middle.
JW's gone back up toward the courtyard, but AZ's already gone by. They had no idea. Even with the second chance to catch him, they didn't quite get there.
He's dead now. Surely he dies in transition here. JW, wait, did JW not hear him jump?
I guess not.
We've seen some really weird rounds, Matt. Train, remember? North versus FaZe. Oh, we've seen him now.
Didn't get the shot, though, did he? Probably could have slowed that down and controlled things, but AZ's tagged and he knows he's
There's the
stuck
bomb.
out. That's the problem. They knew that he was out of the sight. They knew that they were behind him and therefore take the bomb to B, but it gets caught off and dropped on Catwalk. So North might have done just enough and found the important kill. JW has to go reverse hunting, sweep back out from the B site, and they know he's there, so it's not like that's going to be easily done. And the vent is such a problem to go through, especially if someone knows you're coming. Just sit and hold it.
This
You
is
have
the
to
jewel
crawl
here.
through.
If Krim somehow takes down KD and there's a real avenue in for this, smoking the bomb gives him a chance to potentially come up with connector. They're drawn to his position. KD, and that's the lifesaver right there. JW will get one from behind, but is there enough time? They can hide.
10 seconds, there is now. He's
low.
got a chance at it. Can't find him though, he's up toward the lock.
Wait, does he have an idea?
He's got to check it. He's got to check it. HP, JW with 2 seconds left, and fnatic find 14.
The damage he did earlier in the round comes back to save him there. The time ticking down. He just had to search. He had to hope that AZ was close. He got lucky.
JW's showing off not only fast opping in the first half, T-side lurking. He's getting movement and room everywhere.
It's a bit of a, always had like a ratty play style, but it doesn't really matter. It's class to see when you come out behind, able to win a 1-on-3 in that kind of environment right there. That could be the straw that broke the camel's back of North on this first map. As you can see the buy that they come on in with here, there's compromises across the board, no defuse kits. Gade on a pistol. But fnatic, their buy is not perfect either. 2 UMPs, they're just setting up ready for this A execute. Similar scenes to what we saw from North early with the lurk coming late through connector. Flashes and nades come over.
Try on the side of KD, but only for one. JW follows it. Map point is what they're seeking, and it might be what they find. Berlin able to take down Gade as Valda only manages one in return. Not done yet because bomb's not planted. Smokes are, however, in place to prohibit AZ seeing anyone.
Save call?
I think might just be, I guess it's going to have to be. Valda's on 3 HP. I thought they were going to try and play it together for the trade, but he's already out of there as well. So it will be the save, and it will be map point.
It doesn't feel like there's been a lot of fight from North in this game. Obviously, the T side, they need to be a bit more decisive and direct. They're the ones trying to set the tempo and the pace, but it wasn't to be. All the mid-aggression, the double AWPs, the poking and prodding. Really felt like North had a tough time getting into that first half, and the score reflected that exactly. Now in this second half, that clutch from JW, the money gets rinsed. And they put themselves in a great position to close this out very cleanly, very quickly. Because there's only 2150 on Gade, 2250 in KD's hands. Kirby has 1900. Volder with 2350 residual. And AZ with 1950 in his hands. So they can, drop across some things to potentially save the buys. Well, the players on North who weren't able to survive that round. But then they're not going to have anything themselves for utility. It's compromised no matter the way you look at it. I think they see it scrapped together, Famus. CZ75, UMP, that was the best they could do. Now, just going for an aim duel early. Exist knows that there's not a lot to challenge them other than M4s. He's happy to take that with the AK. That one bullet potential to the head. Pick me, bro, he says. And nobody wants to take that fight. Volder's just going to play passively around the window. And they can get mid-control very quickly and already apply pressure from Catwalk and Connector onto the bomb sites.
JW down on Gade. Volda, AZ, and Kiarbi. That is it. That's all that remains for them, and that quickly changes to just AZ, who's towards CT. Fires in for one, but flashed off down to 15 HP. And he doesn't have a lot of room or a lot of time left. I think this one is done. 15, there's no way he gets cleanly back through the vent.
Kind of just stat padding at this point, see if he can get any kills. He's going to get taken down in a second here. Stepped on there. Crims will finish him off, and that's a very clinical performance right there from fnatic. Looking great on their map choice. And that's how you want to start things off, I think. You've really made a statement right there, and the Swedes are looking good. They've had